Welcome to the Honest Gabe Report, live in Indianapolis. We got numerous things happening today. We have two guest hosts, and we're going to be bringing on Johannes. So give me 1 second.
And I
Okay,
got my
and
backdrop on.
yep, everything's good. We are live on the Honest Gabe Report, live in Indianapolis, and then we have Johannes from Northwest Indiana. What town, Johannes?
Michiana Shores.
Yes. So we will be talking
Although
about.
the backdrop is aboard the Canadian riverboat Macasa Bay out of Windsor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So today we'll be having on numerous guests. We'll be having on Cassie Jackson. She is a social activist. What's it called? I can't remember what it was. A social activist warrior. That's what it was. From Hamilton County. She is a Democrat in that area. We'll be talking about how she got a trespass from Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith's church. She apparently was what do you call it? Stocking up the yellow food pantries, and so Micah Beckwith had her trespass, so we'll be talking about that. And then we'll be bringing on Randall McAllister. Randall McAllister was with me at Victoria Sparks' event, and that was insane. I had never seen anything like it, but I'm glad I went to both, and that's why they call Muncie Funcy Muncie. Oh, and it's never a dull moment. It's like little Chicago over there. Oh my goodness. So, um, Johannes, you got any updates for us? What you got?
Well, Northwest Indiana is as crazy as ever. I'm still fighting my case. And I found out today that Grubhub temporarily suspended my account until I get this crap cleared up. So I guess I'm stuck with Instacart now and Cutco.
Yeah, that's fucked up what they did.
It's going to get very expensive for Michigan City.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get very expensive for Marion County. I just filed my default judgment today, so that's gonna be lovely against the county. So got a new judge for this new civil case, and go to court on Tuesday because they didn't serve me my protection order. Good old Abu and his crew. So hopefully it gets thrown out. So we got a new fair judge in that case. So, but I am the only person to ever get new judges all in 1 year apparently. So it's very hard to get new judges nowadays in cases, especially with liberals that try to what do you call it about what's that thing called try to bully their way over democracy. They
Yeah.
talk a good game
Well,
of
once
tolerance
once
and
I get
equality.
acquitted, and I will be getting acquitted, I'm going to be suing the city of Michigan City, the Michigan City Police Department, the town of Porter, and the Porter Police Department because there was a Porter police officer involved, even though Porter was nowhere near the incident where it happened. And I may even sue Mayor Angie Nelson.
Yeah, that whole. I'm sorry, but that whole place is corrupt over there. Oh God.
Yeah.
I don't know who's worse. That corner of Indiana or Marion County. They're all just fucking bad.
They're equally as bad.
Yeah, they are. They're just fucking
Then
scumbags.
any college town, Lafayette, where Purdue is, Bloomington, where IU is, Greencastle, where what's that university? DePaul University is, and Muncie is
Oh, Muncie's something else. A
Ball
little.
State.
I got something for you, Johannes. So apparently Abdul had reached out to the police department out there in Muncie. I don't even know Muncie like that, and me and Randall were standing outside waiting to get in. So we got our tickets just in case because it was a pack house. Like it was a small, and they only had 160 tickets, 160 seats, right? And so we're
Uh-huh.
standing in line, and I'm number 95, and Randall's number 94, right? And the sergeant of the police over there walked past me and said, "Mr. Whiteley, we gonna have any issues today?" And I was like, "I don't know who the hell you are." And even Randall was like, "What the hell?" So that was very interesting. I didn't realize all that was going to happen, but we did find out that Abu, did contact them, and apparently they sent a picture of me over there, and I thought that was hilarious. And I talked to the one of the officers there when we were checking in, and I showed him that the protective order was never served, so they can't enforce it. And so I told the officer that Abu drove like 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes to come harass me. So, oh yeah, my camera turned
That
off.
guy's
My camera turned off. Hold
that
on.
guy's got that guy's sick in the head or something.
Oh, I know he is. I'm gonna have issues with my camera apparently today. That's lovely. So, but yeah, he drove 30 to 35 minutes away, 30 to 35 minutes to harass me in Westfield, and then sent all that information over to Muncie. And yeah, dude's just a clown. So,
Was he in Muncie too at Victoria
no,
Sparks'
thank
event?
goodness. And also, let me finish that. So, as I was telling the police, that the protective order was never served. So, under Indiana code, they're not allowed to force it, right? You have to be served it. And so they said, well, we're pretty much at capacity, and Abdul's not getting in anyways. He's not gonna. You were here first. So I was like, hell yeah, Muncie police don't play around.
Yeah.
So even if he did try to come in as the press of the media, they were denying all press of the media anyways because they only had like 2 rows for the media.
Yeah. What were all the liberals saying about what were they doing to Victoria Sparks?
Oh my gosh, it was like a Jerry Springer show. You had people flying. We'll be showing our viewers the videos of that too. You had people flying towards the congresswoman. They were yelling, they were booing, they were chanting, they were screaming. The party that screams, tolerance and equality sure was not showing that. And I felt like some of their attacks were a little bit not only misogynist, but also racist towards a immigrant woman. So the party that screams
Yeah.
equality and justice and women's rights, oh, they sure violated all of them yesterday and
And
Friday.
she's an Orthodox Christian too. She actually goes to a Serbian Orthodox church. She goes to St. Nicholas in Indianapolis.
Well, I'll say this. I know the Republicans launched a whole thing about where they are no longer doing what do you call it? Town halls anymore. They're not doing that anymore. And so
Well, because the Democrats are showing up over there and raising hell everywhere. I mean, look, what in Northwest Indiana, you had a similar situation when State Representative Hal Slager, a representative representing Highland, Indiana, and which is in Lake County, and uh, State Senator Dan DeLunk, who's the Republican state senator in District 1. Um, They were having a town hall in support of Governor Brown's project to end the property tax in the state of Indiana. And they were over there demanding education, LGBT rights. And they totally drowned out all the Republicans that were there to the event. It's terrible.
Yeah, all I gotta say is Victoria Sparks, I think, did a good job defending herself, and she's one of the few Republicans that went out and, how do I say this? She was the only Republican that had a backbone to do a town hall, and I think she was very brave for doing that type of stuff. She had a lot of backlash on was it Friday, and then come Saturday, oh, that was nasty. So we're gonna go more into details about that. We have lots of videos and pictures, and then we're gonna talk about Randall. Randall was actually assaulted there, so we're gonna see his side. We're gonna hear from his side of the story and see. He went there with me on Friday, and then we went to Texas Roadhouse, and then after that, we traveled up to Muncie, and then we went over to the Muncie City Hall, and oh boy, both places were
Right.
packed. We went there an hour early, and then we on to Westfield, Indiana. We went there over an hour early, so we got there about 5. The event didn't start, I think, till 6. So we I think we pulled in the parking lot about 4:45 p.m. and it was packed, Johannes. I mean packed, and they bust people in too. They bust people in, and they also did the same in
Oh, they
Muncie.
do that. They do that, and they pay. They look for students that are tight with money, and they say like, "Hey, you want $100? Here, hop on this bus. We're gonna take you here, and this is what you need to say." And they're already trained on what they say. It's a typical color revolution tactic. I've seen this being used in Georgia. I've seen this being used in Ukraine. Um, you know, like in Tbilisi, they would say things, of course, in support of Saakashvili. They even insulted Constantine Gamsapurdia, whom I actually met, the son of Georgia's first president, who's a real hero. Uh, I know the cousins of him. In Ukraine, whenever you had somebody that was pro-Russian or wanting to have good relations between Ukraine and Russia, they would shout out things like Hanba or Moskalina Hilyaki. So it's the same tactic everywhere, and it's all funded by one person whom I can be proud to say I threw eggs at when he came to Tbilisi in 2007, and that's George Soros.
Yeah, George Soros is an evil man. He's banned from numerous countries, and I think Trump needs to ban him from the U.S. as well too. We need to make him a domestic terrorist in all of his organizations and just freeze all of his
Well, now it's
assets that are
his
here in
son running
America.
the organization, Alexander Soros, and he's even worse.
Oh, I know. We just need to ban them altogether. Other countries have. He's not an American here. He's not.
Well, they have U.S. citizenship. We need to strip their citizenship. Yeah, but I actually threw eggs at George Soros.
When we were at the when me and Randall were at the Victoria Sparks rally yesterday in Muncie, liberals were calling the inclusive party that's all for immigrants was calling to strip Victoria Sparks' citizenship away because they did not agree with her. And you have to remember, Delaware County was just added last year. Hold on, here we go. Hold on.
Yep.
What's going on, Cassie? Can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
That's exciting because I can see myself on the screen this time, and I know that I could not when we did our like little mic check or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad it's working out better today. So yeah, I did a lot of testing and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a good show today. So we wanted to bring you on the show and talk about what happened when you went to Micah Beckwith's church and what the background is. And Johannes probably has a couple questions for the end. And just tell your side of the story. What's going on? What happened and what was the result? And What do you plan to do to hold Micah Beckwith accountable for his actions? Because as a pastor, your church is open to everyone, and you shouldn't ban anyone because of their political beliefs. And I totally think what he did to you was absolutely wrong. As a pastor, you're supposed to love thy neighbor, and unfortunately, he didn't. When it comes to Cassie, he doesn't love that neighbor in particular. So, Cassie, share your side of the story. If you want to introduce yourself too, and let's get started.
Sure. So first of all, I wanted to thank you for giving me the platform and having me on and being interested in this issue, this person. I'm really grateful to have this opportunity. And yeah, I hear you. I want to be really clear that he did not trespass me from his church, which is, your point is still well noted, and still is applicable. But I was filling the community food pantry, which is at the base of his church. I've never actually entered that church at all. And so not only did he trespass me from his church, which I'd never entered, but also that entire property so that I could no longer go and fill that food pantry, which I had been taking photos of, and this was about 2 years ago. Prior to that, for about a month, because the community made me aware that that food pantry was left empty at the base of the church. Which kind of let me bring you back to how I started. So Mr. Micah Beckwith and I started, or got to know each other online as I became an activist against him. And then really the way that we became familiar with each other personally, right, was when he was on the Hamilton East Public Library Board, trying to ban porn that was not in children's books. So I showed up to all those library board meetings. I'm a social justice activist. I'm an agitator, kind of a guerrilla activist. So I do, I'm going to come for you. He did not like that. I was at every meeting,
Yeah,
and he knew who I.
yeah, I saw that because I lived in Indy when you guys were going at it. So I saw a lot of things happen, and me and me and another person had talked. Who's well known in the Republican Party. We both agreed that him and what's her name? Oh,
Tiffany Divilson.
yes, Tiffany. Her and him and Tiffany could have handled things a lot better out there, but that was that.
You know.
So, but
So, and the reason I even bring that up is just to let you know that, at the pantry that night when he pulled over, and I'll get to that, like he knew exactly who I was. It's
oh yeah.
important because his story of why he pulled over to harass me at the pantry and then go on to trespass me a few days later was that, he just wanted to thank me for filling the food pantry. Let me get to that real quick. Is that okay, Gabe, if I tell
Yeah,
that
yeah,
story real
absolutely.
quick?
We got time for that. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, cool. It kind of is the beginning point. So, after some of the advocacy, Mr. Beckwith knew who I was. I had been photographing that little yellow pantry, which is not owned by the church. It's at many churches across Hamilton County and not church and non-church locations. Um, After the community made me aware it was empty at his church, I started photographing it. I started posting about that. Him being a pastor, why are you leaving the food pantry empty? Like, look at you trying to ban porn and all of these books, and you just love these kids so much, you care, family, 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 right? Except, like, why is this pantry empty? Um, and he did not like that. So he knew me, and that's a big point, because at 11 p.m. at night, when I went with my 10-year-old daughter to do community service in the summertime, January or June 2023, we were filling that pantry. She was recording me because I was doing follow-up posts that we were filling that pantry. And he pulled off the road at 11 p.m. at night with his wife and small children in the car to thank me. Now I have recording of that. As I
Yeah,
said, my
I seen
daughter's
that
recording.
video.
And that,
Yep.
yeah, like that was full harassment. And then he tried to talk to my daughter. And as a parent, I told him to back away, stop addressing her. He failed to do that. His wife got out of the car. We had an interaction. It was a mess on his part. And so then flip 3 days later, because I got interrupted in filling the pantry that night, to when I went back to the church to continue with what I was going to put in there. That same day in the morning, I went ahead and made a police report about that incident, just to put it on their radar. A lot of advocates were like, listen, we get that he didn't actually physically, assault you or blah, blah, blah. But, like, and I agree with that. So I had called and done a police report. I showed back up to fill the pantry, and Mr. Beckwith then called the police to trespass me as I was filling the pantry.
Yeah, that isn't that great. You're whether you like the politics of somebody's, we shouldn't get to this point. And as Christians, we should love thy neighbor and, respect one another and treat others how we like to be treated. And also is banning someone that's filling up the food pantries in your community.
That's it.
Yeah,
That point.
that's and
That's right.
I did see the video, Cassie, and I saw Micah Beckwith admit that you were the number one, the main one that filled up the food pantries for the community.
Right. Right.
And so it's just.
And I continue to do that. Now, in honor of him, we're doing with feminine products, and I encourage all of the ladies, as they utilize these feminine products, when they are done with them, to please think of Mr. Micah Beckwith on my behalf. Because tampons are the demon corks. So.
Yeah, that's just that's very interesting. And what do you call it? Yeah, Micah Beckwith. That's not. This is my personal message. That's not. It's not very Christian of us to ban people because of their political beliefs and their race and whatever, their sex, whatever you want to call it.
I can also see if, like, I showed up and I was at a church, like,
and you were being
if I was in,
or something like
yeah,
that.
that's
valid.
I get that. But when you're pulling off the road, sorry, Gabe, I don't mean to go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good. I just wanted to say that's a valid point. And if I go to a church or if I go to an establishment and I make a ruckus and I disrupt it, they have every right to remove me from that establishment. And that should be anywhere. And you weren't doing that. That's the case here. You weren't doing that at all.
I wasn't, and also I've been escorted out of many public meetings, as you know. Like I'm well versed on like public disruption and what, I'll push it, and sometimes it works, sometimes I have to leave the meeting. So yeah, this was me. I didn't even know Beckwith was in the church. This was about like 7 p.m. right, where I was refilling the pantry, and all of a sudden 2 Noblesville police show up, and I'm just like, well, hello to you,
Well, and the thing is when you actually live stream most of the times when you go deliver when you go fill up the food pantries, and you usually do it at night when nobody's there anyways. And so
for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason. Yeah,
for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm not trying. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and this is that's why I wanted to bring you in, because that's why I wanted to bring you on the show, because this just ticks me. This ticks at home, because this is not how we're supposed to act like as Republicans in the state of Indiana. We're very big on the Christian religion, and so this is just a reminder to anyone that within the Republican Party, and you're a Christian, we don't kick members out of our congregation due to their political beliefs. If that's the case, then you need to have, and I'm sorry to say this, but you need to have your tax exempt taken away from you, because you are exercising political beliefs in a church, and that's not under federal law. That's not okay. So if somebody wants to make that argument, that's a valid point they can make right now, and they'd win.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, you're not the only Republican, and I know you're not identifying necessarily as Republican, but this is a cross the board thing. If you see the video of that night, there's no way this pastor was pulling off the road at 11 p.m. at night with his wife and children and pretending like he didn't know who was filling the food pantry, exactly who's filling the food pantry, and wanted to just thank them. It's really gross behavior, quite frankly. And listen, I'm the first one to say, like, I'm an agitator, so like I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm Jesus-like or Christ-like, but when you do pretend that you are, or you say you are, or you're a pastor, then you need to act like it. You can't hold me to that. I'm not saying that I am, and I'm going to tell you I'm coming for your fucking jugular if you're a bigot, and that's how it's going to go. But I'm also not running for elected office. I'm also not in a position where, does that make sense?
No, I get you, and I think a lot of our viewers get you too. Johannes, do you have any questions for Cassie?
Yeah.
Well, I'm an Orthodox Christian. I get, I don't think we should kick people away for filling food pantry or anything like that. But I know, like, in our church, our churches are a little different. Our services don't really have a lot of speakers. Our services are all a cappella, etc. But
this is Orthodox. You're an Orthodox, you said?
Yeah, I'm an Orthodox Christian, as in Russian Orthodox. Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I heard you correctly.
Yeah. But, there's certain politics that our church just does not does not put up with. And in general, we don't really encourage the discussion of politics even in the fellowship meals after the liturgy, unless it pertains to the Orthodox faith. But you know, there's certain radical issues that
Sure.
the Orthodox faith just doesn't agree with. And
I respect that fully, and I think that's like a great point, and that's why I think that's why I think religious values need to be kept, right? Like that's I respect all that you think, and understand that you would not agree with some of my radical
well,
views, right?
I'm
But
not shy about expressing my religious values. I mean,
I just think that if people are going to do it
I get
politically, they
attacked by
have to
the
go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I get attacked by the Protestants a lot because we Orthodox, along with the Roman Catholics, we get accused of worshiping Mary. When we don't worship Mary, we adore her. You know, she gave birth to our Savior and maintained her virginity. And her having to go through that in that type of society, everybody thinking that she was being disloyal to Joseph when she was not. Okay, in the Orthodox faith, Mary is the queen of heaven, is made that way by her son, who's our God, Jesus Christ. And, the Protestants don't understand that. And there's even many verses in the Bible where they say about the mother of God, many generations shall call thee blessed. So, we get a lot of ridicule from the Protestants for that.
I mean,
But
I'm just gonna, if I can just say right now, like any of the forms of Christianity, I'm not familiar with yours, but bless all of your whole hearts right now, because if anyone is going to like love a woman and respect her and speak the way that you just did about her, like I just got full body goosebumps. Yes, all the way yes to that.
yeah,
My thing is this, like, that's beautiful, truly. Like it was beautiful hearing you say that about a woman who for is who she is to you, and um but can you see how like that's a real problem, like if the person in the political power is not on, I mean, I'm not trying to even like, I mean, you do see that, right? Like if it's great when you agree with the person, for example, if it's Mike
well,
or
I don't
whoever,
know.
but
I mean,
like it's a real
look,
fucking
I'm
problem.
politically
Yeah.
active myself. I ran on the Republican ticket for Indiana State Senate District 4 2 years ago, and I'm planning to run again next year, and I'm paying the price for it. But you know, let's face it, I'm not going to agree with everybody, including people that are in our own movement. We have, like, in the Patriot group I belong to, we have a lot of people that go to Fairhaven Baptist Church. They're great people, they're good, hardworking, but when it comes to religion, I disagree with them.
Right, right.
Now,
They're very different from the Orthodox faith.
now, Johannes and Cassie, I'm going to chime in a little bit. So I agree with Johannes. When I go to church, I don't talk about politics. They know I'm politically involved, and I don't really discuss my religion. But I'm with the LDS, the Latter Day Saints, and so there are certain things that I disagree in my church, and there's a lot of things I disagree in my own party. And so the thing is that there's a time and a place for everything, and when and so when I'm at church, it's about God. It's about respecting my members of the congregation. It is we are celebrating the mass. Whatever religion it is, we are there to worship God. We're not there to talk about politics. We're all there as sons and daughters of God, and so we should not be putting politics in it. Maybe when we're at the dinner table or elsewhere, that's different. But there's a time and a place for everything, and I think social media has disrupted that and has made us into more vulgar. And there's no civility anymore. We need to go back to the days of civility where
Yeah,
where
I
we act
agree
like
with that.
Americans.
I mean,
Go ahead, Cassie.
and
Yeah,
I
my
just
dad was
I would like
involved in
to
politics. My dad was involved in politics. I've been around politics since I was a little kid. My dad has a PhD in political science from the University of Chicago. He's been on the Michiana Shores Town Council for a long time. And I remember growing up, there were Democrats and there were Republicans on the Michigan, even on tiny little Michiana Shores. We disagreed. We were like fire and ice, but at the end of the day, we still got along.
I
We
know.
still had town picnics where everybody was there.
This is
My dad would
this is
have
what
these
I
big block parties at our house for his birthday called the Leo Party. Everybody was there.
yeah.
So at the
I
end of
mean,
the
this
day,
is
we
the
still
thing.
got
My
along.
my
Go
real
ahead, Cassie. Go
my
ahead.
real feeling. Oh, I'm so sorry. I sometimes I like interrupt.
No, you're
my
good. You're good. Go
my
ahead.
real
Go ahead.
my real feeling on this, and I don't know if your dad like could. I mean, I don't know if he would endorse this, but I know that there are a lot of political scientists. I mean, quite frankly, in the last 10 years, the climate has changed. It's been okay for people to act this way. And in my opinion, that's because Trump has emboldened people to behave and the way and have rhetoric that they were not used to having, that they would have never thought they'd have,
Well, I don't know
believe.
if I agree with that.
Well,
but
I appreciate you don't agree with that. I'm just wondering if like this phenomenon of this anger, I mean, it's almost directly related to the last 8 years because it's not been this way. There have been Republicans, like my mom's a Republican. She doesn't even recognize her party right now. There are a lot, and you guys know that there are a lot of Republicans who are lifelong Republicans, even in the state of Indiana, who are just like, what the fucking fuck is going on? And
Yeah, I've
you know,
seen
so
it and heard it. I've seen it and heard it from multiple Republicans.
it's not the way politics used to be, and I love that you shared that story about your dad
the
because
party's been divided in two camps.
Well,
You have the rhinos
yeah.
and you have the MAGA Republicans. I consider myself a MAGA Republican.
No,
right.
I'll
I
say this, you
sense
guys.
that. I also think there's like a progressive Democrat side and like the Democrat moderate, and I'm like all the way on the edge of liberalism. Like I'm hanging off that fucking cliff. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. So I'll say this, you guys. I honestly believe that the division in politics started. I don't think it started with Trump. I think it started more when the internet started getting a lot more advanced. And I would have to say during the
That's fair.
I'd have to say during the Bill Clinton administration. And we saw that when Bill Clinton and what's his name, George Jr. Bush Jr. ran. And that's when it intensified because you had Bill Clinton. I think it was Al Gore. Was it Al Gore? And then Bush
Gore.
Jr. Yeah, that was when everything went down. The early 2000s, it went totally sideways. And that. And,
I mean, yeah,
and then,
I won't even argue.
Exacerbated it.
Say that
Listen,
again, Kathy.
Obama, listen, I love Obama, except I really dislike Obama because I think he was way too moderate. And I mean, we could disagree on all that, but and Biden can fuck around and find all the way out. He's a genocidal. He needs to be tried for war crimes, and so does Kamala for her bullshit rhetoric. Thank you. So yeah, when I say I'm all the way left, I am all the way hanging off the edge.
I don't disagree with that. Biden almost caused an all rights, civil war and nuclear war. And the thing was, for multiple years during Trump's administration, they kept saying, "Oh, we're gonna get nuked. Oh, we're gonna get nuked," and none of that happened. And then when Biden came in, guess who tried to nuke us? Guess who threatened to nuke us? Putin. Putin is an idiot. I don't really like Putin. I think that Putin could do things a lot more.
You just
better.
can't trust him. That's the problem. He's a smart guy, but you can't trust him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That being said, is when it comes to any type of dictatorship, you shouldn't trust them. That's with any type of dictatorship. That's regardless of any party. And Putin. I'm sorry to say it, and I know this might offend people, but Putin can be really smart, but he's also a dictator, and we should not let a dictator bully us and let another foreign entity bully us and tell us what to do.
Actually, I think China. China's
terrible.
Way more dangerous.
Yeah, China's worse.
China, listen, you guys. Let me tell you something about China, and I know nothing about international politics. I'm just going to tell you, this is my take on China. They are watching and sitting back and eating popcorn right now and developing all kinds of shit they are going to be like, and you guys are looking at me like, yeah, bitch, no, that's what we've all been saying. But I don't know that climate, so I'm like, these are Cassie's speculations, okay? They are literally going to, if we're not careful about that, because guess what they're doing? The Chinese are allowing, and like I just got full goosebumps again saying this. The Chinese are allowing now they're opening the social network and like availability
Yep.
of their citizens.
Yep.
But why? Why?
So they can kill
Because
them.
they have said no. They said they are confident enough that now this is fucked up. Like they have trained or they have like educated their population enough into being able to recognize propaganda and misinformation that they are comfortable now enough opening it up to them. That's huge. What that's saying is, bitches, we have educated the shit out of our population. You guys are falling behind in education. They are
They're
like
very
opening,
disciplined.
they're
They're very
decent.
disciplined. And you
Yeah,
cannot trust them.
that's a
Even
real
the
scary
Russians,
problem.
That is
even, I've been
very
to
scary.
Russia many times.
They're
And,
like, we are confident in our entire population to not fall for the shit that you guys are falling for between the two of y'all, or Russia, whatever. Like, we're going to open it up. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
I'll
you.
tell
I'm
you
so
this.
sorry.
No,
I'll
you're
tell you
good,
this
Cassie.
about the Chinese. I've been to Russia many times. I even visited the Russian Far East. I was in Khabarovsk. And the friends I had over there. I went to his girlfriend's parents' dacha, which was on the Ussuri River, which actually makes the border between Russia and China. I could see China across the river. Okay, they talk about the Chinese like they want to take over. And let me tell you, uh, the Russians had a skirmish with the Chinese before
And they lost.
in the 50s and 60s. And a friend of mine in Georgia passed away a couple of years ago, may his memory be eternal, actually was in the Soviet army during that skirmish. And he basically told me the story where a Chinese soldier actually put a gun to his head and he wrestled that pistol away from the Chinese soldier and shot the Chinese soldier. And it was like, if he didn't do that, he would have been dead. So the Chinese, even though they may look like they're on friendly terms with Putin and
Oh,
with Russia, they are not. They are
no,
just
no, no.
waiting for the right time to
Uh-huh.
fight, and they're
This is
going to
what,
do that to us too.
oh, sorry. I know I'm like really bad with interrupting.
No, you're good. You're good. Cassie, your mic. Your mic. You muted your mic.
Oh, okay. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was apologizing for interrupting. I was saying I do that at night sometimes, but I will forget my thought. And it's this, because I do a lot of watching, like internet, like watch stuff about different countries and all kinds of stuff at night when I go to bed. China has developed a better aircraft than we have. Do you guys know about this? It's like a new
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Oh, okay. You're like,
Yeah.
no, bitch, we
Well,
I
know.
watch the
no,
I'm
Russia
like,
and
news
that's
this
just
is
why.
about
all very
everything.
concerning.
No, and that's why America. That's why Trump just launched a new. Just gave a contract out to Boeing to do a better.
Yeah,
The what do you
because
call it? Yeah, because China just developed a new one that's literally 1,000 times better than ours.
but I can tell, and so like going back to the other thing I said, yes, Gabe, yes, but like TikTok with that whole thing, when TikTok was about to be banned,
That was the dumbest thing
there was
ever.
a whole mood. Well, I'm not even trying to get into that topic. I'm just saying like there was a
Yeah.
mood. I forget there was a shift to like Red Note or something, which was a Chinese TikTok that only the Chinese could access. Americans started signing on to that. It's been one of the first times that American and Chinese can communicate. That's a fucking problem for the United States of America. And I cannot emphasize enough because I know that I don't really know about like the planes and the war plans like you guys do or necessarily, but I'm telling you socially and professionally as a mental health provider, it is a big deal that they are confident enough to let their population at large have access to shit that they didn't before, with them stating the reason is because they are confident they won't be as fucking dumb as us and get
And
swayed by
actually,
propaganda.
frankly, instead of having all these stupid sanctions against Russia, we need to open up to the Russians. The Russians actually, they want to work with us. The Russians are actually very similar to the Americans. They're very patriotic, like the Americans are. You know, they're Orthodox Christians, so you know they
I mean,
have
I
pretty
just want
much
to
the
be really
same
clear
Christian
that
culture.
I'm not talking about the Russian people. I am fully in distrust of the leader. Like the Russian people, mwah. Yeah, I have nothing, but I do think
But you
that the
know,
Russian
everybody
people and
also
we should be very
here's
concerned
the
about the
thing about
dictatorship.
Putin.
Yeah, the
Here's the thing
dictatorship,
about Putin,
I
because
worry about
I
too.
watch
Putin.
Putin and I watch Belarusian TV, so I know a lot about Alexander Lukashenko as well. Um, People here say he's a dictator, but you see what he's doing for the people, you know, and you watch the news over there, and not all of it is government run. NTV is not a government run channel like Henry Canal and Garcia 1 and Garcia 24 are. Putin has done a lot to help the Russian Orthodox Church.
Now,
Um,
hold on, Johannes, one
Yeah,
second.
but that's
Okay,
because it's a dictatorship and the
eh,
church and the
eh,
politics can cross. Like that's what
Cassie,
we're trying to not do. Sorry, Gabe.
Cassie, no, I just want to say, if anyone knows about foreign government, I will say Johannes does, because his family is literally he's son of immigrants. His parents came from over there, and so Johannes even has land over there. So if anyone knows about foreign government, it's Johannes, and I've been to his house numerous times, and we've talked about foreign government, foreign policies. He actually knows world leaders over there. So when it comes to foreign government, I
I don't know
do.
the world
Go ahead, Johannes.
leader themselves. I know their cousins.
Yes,
I know
yes.
the cousins of Georgia's first president, Yadgam
Mm.
Sapudia, who was actually assassinated by George Herbert Walker Bush.
Yeah, yeah. The Bushes, yeah, they've done
Like a
some
Bush,
pretty
like
things
an
overseas.
American, like George Bush relative.
Yeah, senior,
No,
senior
he's.
killed him.
I'm talking about Soviet Georgia.
Yeah, Soviet
No, no,
Georgia,
I know that, but what Bush assassinated? Are you
senior.
saying? Are you saying like George
George
Bush?
Herbert Walker Bush
That's
assassinated
senior.
President Yadgam Sapudia. I don't
Yeah,
know if you
Oh,
remember
had him. Okay, all right. Sorry, sorry, I
After
got
the
so
Soviet
confused.
Union fell. After the Soviet Union fell, I don't know if you remember that infamous speech that George Bush had, where he talked about, saying it's not a pipe dream, it's a new world order.
yep.
It's a
Mm.
very famous speech. And Zviad Gamsapurdia, thing about Zviad Gamsapurdia was him and Merab Kostava. Merab Kostava has been fighting for Georgian independence even longer than Zviad Gamsapurdia. They were both killed. But
Johannes, I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to stay back on topic with the Beckwith and that type of stuff. So just real
yeah,
quick, because it's almost 10 o'clock and we got Randall
Sorry,
coming on.
I was totally into that. I'm like going to actually now do some videos on Georgia tonight and would love any recommendations on other countries that I can
So
study that you're familiar with. Thank you for that. But yeah, go ahead, Gabe.
what I will do, I will start a thread between you and Johannes, and you guys can absolutely talk about that. And it's really interesting. If you want to learn about foreign politics, follow Johannes, because I'm telling you, this dude knows a lot about foreign government that we don't even
Yeah, that's
know.
great.
And so I've learned a lot from him, and he knows his stuff. You go and fact check it, and yeah, it's true. So, but yeah.
No, I mean, I'll defer to you. I will fact check, but I will defer to you. It sounds like you do know a lot, so I appreciate you sharing that.
So, Cassie, for our viewers, I guess we'll just ask you a couple questions. What do you plan to do moving forward after, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith trespassed you from the property, and what's the next mission?
Sure. So yeah, I'm just, I'm gonna always be that little fly buzzing in his ear. I'm kind of attached to him advocacy wise, and I love that people know that. That will be a great honor for me in terms of how I can, volunteer my efforts here as a Hoosier. But it's really just that my goal is to get him out of politics. My goal, the end goal, right? My goal is for the history of his child abuse within the churches. You guys can check out my page for those receipts. The reason he hasn't sued me on defamation, which I've been saying for a long time now, is because he knows I have the receipts and those childhood survivors who are ready to testify in the event that he wants to sue me on defamation for saying he's a child abuser. Now, so I'm wanting him, Micah Beck was a puppet. He's been indoctrinated in Hillsdale, Michigan, which is home of the Heritage Foundation, which are the authors of Project 2025. He has 3 other brothers, and they are all either pastors or politicians. The reason we're seeing such a disconnect in how Mr. Micah Beckwith acts and him being a pastor is because he's not gotten to choose his path in life, right? He has been literally put into these positions. His mom is a Civil War loving, quite frankly, anyway, my belief is they have a mommy attachment disorder, all 4 of these boys, and they really want to impress. Micah does not fit his role. I know about his abuses. I want him out as pastor. I want it to be exposed. And then in terms of advocacy moments, like I will solo advocate. I went to last week on Tuesday, there was a town hall at the church that I've been trespassed from, and shout out to the Noblesville police, because the night I was trespassed, we had a long discussion on where exactly I could stand moving forward if I wanted to come back and advocate there. And so shout out to them, because I did stand on the other side of the property. I came as all of his guests were leaving, and I held up big signs that stated, Micah abuses children. What I also did was I quoted Micah, and this was what Micah quoted in saying, and I quote, "Jesus divides, but it's a good division. It's a warrior message. Be prepared to bring division." And not any Christians at all interpret the text to be a Bible, to interpret the Bible to be a war text or Jesus to be a warrior. And that's the new Christian nationalist flex, which is we are in a fight of good or evil, demon. We are the warriors. We're going to get in it. And no, bro, you've been indoctrinated since you were a baby to think that you've been anointed and that you are you've literally been put in these positions. He's hired both of his 2 out of the 3 of their brothers onto his church as pastors.
Now,
they're plants. And
I think I know what text you're referring to. It is in Matthew.
Johannes.
And
no, I know what the text, but he uses it in such a divisive way. Why are you telling people to hold? He said Jesus told his disciples to buy weapons.
Now hold on.
These are his words.
Hold on, you guys. I also want to bring up the incident where Beckwith was telling other people in my circle, in Cassie's circle, that Cassie was demonic and evil and a spawn from hell. And as a pastor, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to attack, people in your community.
Well,
love thy neighbor, right? Whatever happened to that?
And that's exactly right. And also, he legally can get in some trouble for that, because what he is doing is he is endorsing his followers using his pastor hat, which he has stated, "I am a morality professional. I am a professional in morality." When he says that, but when he starts saying a human being possesses demon traits or is demonic, and he puts that on another human being, particularly as a public, what?
I heard him say that about you before.
Yeah, I know, particularly as a limited public figure too. So he better be real fucking careful, because he has people that follow him. And so if he, with these radicalized Christians, and he says, we're in a war, there's demon humans, there's good ones. When you are putting that label on another human, and you are in a position as a politician or a pastor to get other humans to believe you, which they do, and then they would induce harm on me, that's a fucking real problem for you, Micah. If you want to label human beings demons because they don't agree with you politically, then you better be ready for when someone in your group that's tracked back to you comes and tries to assault me or my family, because I'm bringing your ass. My counsel is all the way fucking ready for Mr. Beckwith at any jump.
Now, hold on, Cassie. This also brings up a bigger issue. He's the second person in command of the whole entire state of Indiana. And there's a lot of people that follow him. I follow him. I cover some of the news that his office is in and what they're doing. So when you have the second man when you have the second person in command, in charge of a state that literally is, that literally is in charge of the state and that influences, we have over, we have over 6 million Hoosiers that live here in the state of Indiana. And more than half of those people vote, and more than half of those are Republicans. So the thing is that when you use your office to
Mm-hmm.
attack somebody or your church or whatever, because he has a lot of members in his church, and that's
Oh, I
not
know.
something that we should be doing. If you are a pastor, and you say that you are a man, that you are a man of God,
He's
you need to act like
yeah.
one and stop being a hypocrite.
And you
So
don't Yeah, and you don't endorse whether you feel it or not, whether you feel my behavior or me as a person is mentally ill, demonic, possessed by Satan, that I don't know the word, I don't know the light, I don't know Christ. That is all fine. Keep it in your head, boo, because when you're a politician or a pastor that's trying to be a public figure, which he is now, if any one of those motherfuckers comes for me, he knows he has a lawsuit, and it's a big one. It's a real problem. This is why I tag Carmel Police for visibility on all of my posts, and the SRO, the student resource officers, because I dare these motherfuckers to come for me. There's also a reason, and I think I mentioned it before, why he's not litigating against me saying and talking about his child abuse in the churches. We see the news. We see who's coming out in the news all over the country every
so
single day.
so
Who are the child abusers? We see
Cassie,
it, and it's pastors. And so he's not suing me on that. And the reason is because he knows I'll bring the discovery process. He fucking knows it. Sorry. All right, I'm done.
Cassie, I want to bring you on another segment. Hopefully, we can make
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
late,
Let me.
maybe for next Sunday or whatever, so we can talk a little
Yeah,
bit more of that, because I thought that was
sure.
interesting about those claims. So let's talk about that. Let's get together. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can get you on the show next Sunday. And
Sure.
I want to hear about that, and I think other viewers want to as well too. But we are running. Our time is running out, so
That's
we're going to be bringing on Randall McAllister. Thank you, Cassie, so
sure.
much for coming on,
Thank
telling
you
your
so
side of
much.
the story.
It was nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you too, Johannes. You got anything to say before Cassie heads out?
Well, one thing I'd like to add, these so-called Christian warriors, we are supposed to fight against Satan, but one thing my spiritual father, before he went to Serbia, he's now passed, was a monastic priest from Serbia, Archimandrit Father Gavrilo. He would always say, we are never supposed to kill for Christ. And he would say, you know, those who kill for Christ, when they come before him in the terrible judgment, Christ will say, go away from my face, for I know thee not.
Mm.
So that's a little food for thought right there.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Cassie, so much. Hopefully
Thank
we'll
you
see you on
guys.
next week, and you have a great
Yeah.
week. Take care now.
Thanks. I appreciate the platform. Take care, guys.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we are adding on
we
are adding on Randall McAllister right now. Let's see if we can get him in. What is going on, Randall McAllister? How are you doing?
Not much. How you guys doing this evening?
Oh, it's another day in
Okay.
Indiana. You remember
Pretty good?
Johannes?
Yeah, met him a couple years ago.
Hey, Randall. And
How
so
you
you're
been?
running for state representative, huh?
Yes, sir. Trying to make a difference. Got a radical 83-year-old woman that's been with Planned Parenthood for 17 years, so she's got to go. We got to get her
Yeah.
retired.
That sounds like our state representative, Pat Boyd, a female version of Biden.
Yeah, this is Nancy Pelosi's sister.
Oh goodness. Oh hell no. Oh yeah, I actually did see a picture. Yeah, they actually could be relatives.
They're definitely distant relatives, for sure. That lady,
They're both
it's
old.
just
They're
disgusting.
both. You know what? They're both so old that they were literally at the Last Supper with Jesus Christ. Okay, that's how old they are. Oh my goodness. So, okay, so we're bringing Randall on today, you guys, for our viewers and followers. So Randall was with me at the Victoria Sparks event, and he was actually assaulted at the by the liberals, and so we wanted to know what your thoughts were, what you thought about it. You went to both of the events with me, one in Westfield and one in Muncie. What were your thoughts, Randall, on is there any contrast? Do you think Victoria Sparks, held her ground with the activists that they bust in, and what's your thoughts about it overall?
So my overall thought is the radical left, they've just lost their mind. I don't think they know what to do, so they're just trying to intimidate people. But Victoria Sparks, I don't agree with her entire record, but she held her ground, and she several times told them for sure what she did and did not support. And I think that's good. She didn't try to circle conversation. She actually told him exactly what she was going to do and who she supported. And right now she's supporting Donald Trump and Elon Musk, especially with Doge.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I got attacked by some elderly lady. She decided that she didn't like my speech when I said we need to be bringing our education back to the states. And so she got up in my
Oh,
face,
that's a
started
good
yelling at
movement.
me, and I told her that I think she needed to take her mental meds, and she
You
probably
did
did
say
because
that.
she ended up grabbing my hat, throwing it across the room, and completely acting a fool. Like she touched me and everything. It was right in the front of a cop.
Yeah,
It was
I was sitting right next to Randall. We were both sitting in the same seat, and the seat next to each other, right? And so all I see is the hat being thrown, and I see Randall going off on her. And I'm glad it was a little old lady and not a man, because I'm sorry things would have got heated, and Randall would have been dragged out along with the other
absolutely.
guy.
I just made it very clear
He
that
did.
we was both allowed to be there. That this was not just a leftist event. The community and the voters were on both sides invited. And she wanted to silence my speech, but then say whatever she wanted to say. And as soon as I spoke up, she wanted to grab my hat, throw it across the room, and make a fool of herself. And I made it known, don't you ever touch me again. We're both welcome here. We don't have to agree, but don't ever touch me again. And throughout the meeting, they wouldn't let Sparks talk. She got interrupted so many times. Within the first 5-10 minutes, we had a lady that decided to act like a cat and get on the table. That was insane.
Oh,
And
we
get
should
Yeah,
send
she
dragged
her
literally she
to,
threw Johannes.
the
what's that
psych
place?
ward.
Springfield, Ohio?
Oh goodness,
um,
no. Yeah,
and the thing is,
go ahead,
what is
Johan.
it,
Go
Gabe?
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
I was gonna
what I
say
didn't
that cat lady, we should send her to Springfield, Ohio, so that the Haitians could eat her.
Oh hell no. So go ahead, Johan. Go ahead, Randall. What were you saying?
yeah,
What were you saying, Randall?
yeah. So the lady didn't have to get herself thrown out. That's the crazy part. Is she was sitting right in front of Sparks. Sparks heard everything she was saying, letting her speak, and the lady started screaming, "I brought you bread." I'm sorry if some crazy ladies in front of me screaming tells me that she brought me bread, but then tells me I'm an evil person. She probably poisoned the bread. Like there's no way in hell I'm
I
touching that bread.
I think she ate bread.
And
That was maybe poison, because she was acting very very crazy. And you notice she looked like the
yeah, it
lady. She
was
looked
insane.
similar to the lady that was dragged out by the state police at the tax rally. Okay, I'm sorry. Why do they all look like land whales? Okay, they're not. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like objective, but they're they're not the greatest in sight, and they're just making a big old scene. And it's like, why? Why we came here to hear the congresswoman speak to the constituents of District 5, and here you guys are acting ignorant. And Randall made a very good point. Delaware County was
100%.
just added last year, right?
They probably
Yeah.
look like land whales because they use their EBT card and spend it on junk food at Walmart every other week.
Hey,
Oh
I eat my
my
fair share
goodness.
of junk food, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
it's not
Well,
on
I do
food
too, but
stamps.
Now everyone knows
Um,
everyone knows I like to eat my junk food, okay? So I even had a stalker drive 35 miles all the way to Westfield to make fun of my weight.
hey, I do endorse Pepsi because Coca-Cola wants us all to be less white.
Yeah, well, screw Coca Cola. I've drinking Pepsi a long time, and my mom got me hooked on to Pepsi. So yes, absolutely.
I like Natatari.
So, but yeah,
It's a Georgian soft drink.
but okay. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna play some videos. Excuse me. I'm gonna play some videos of what happened yesterday. So we're gonna what I want us all to do. Um, I'm gonna mute everyone. Mute your mics, and then we're gonna show the videos. And then I will let everybody know when they can speak. So everybody, mute your mic. Randall, it ain't wanting to work for him. Get it ready. Where is it at? Okay, we're gonna show. Okay, so now we're gonna show the videos. So bear with us.
Get ready! Oh, bye, fascists. Good Lord.
No! The American people will rise again.
Okay, what happened to the videos? Oh.
All right, I'm back.
Spitting on
Assaulted an
Betty?
89-year-old man. Absolutely disgusting. No matter which party you're from, assaulting an 89-year-old man is absolutely a disgrace. It's terrible
Yeah.
for our community. The guy didn't even say nothing. He was just standing there with a MAGA hat, just like I got on. It was a white hat. Didn't say nothing to nobody. Super nice old man. And they assaulted him, tried to get him to leave, and he didn't
Don't do
back
that.
down. He was not scared. But why you would want to do that to an 89-year-old man is just absolutely mind blowing. Yep. The hatred did not come from any Republicans yesterday. The hate was from the radical left, and they filled the room, filled outside, and no, 100%. It's the guy from Carmel that was going around and assaulting people. He assaulted the two kids from the Ball State Republican Party. Um, it's insane. Um, yeah, there's a guy that kept messing with Ryan Webb, but Ryan Webb did what Ryan Webb will always do, and that's to defend himself. And I'm proud of Ryan. I think he did a great job. Definitely America's councilman or councilwoman. He's going back and forth on his identity. So we'll see what happens next year with
Well,
Ryan.
we had something similar in Centerville. I wasn't there, but I know people. There were people in my Patriot group who were. But State Representative Hal Slager, who's a Republican, who represents Highland, Lake County, and State Senator Dan DeLunk, also a Republican. They were having a town hall in support of Governor Brown's initiative to end the property tax in the state of Indiana, and the liberals literally ambushed them.
Yeah.
Them.
It's what they do.
They would.
It's what they're trained to
they
do.
disrupted the whole meeting. They demanded not. They demanded not to cut the source of funding for education, which frankly I think is indoctrination, not education.
100%.
You know, and the lady I talked to who was actually there said the problem is there weren't enough Republicans. We need to have more Republicans show up at these events so that there's more of us than there's of them.
I 100% agree with that. I'm actually nervous about 2026 because Republicans, we want it across the board, but Republicans don't show up for midterms. They really don't. We have such low turnout for midterms. We got to improve that. We got to get these people back out. A lot of them, though, especially the average working color guy, he's not paying attention. He don't know when all the election dates are and everything. We got to get better at educating them, telling them where their poll locations are if they're out of town working. I don't really support mail-in ballots, but it's the method that they're going to keep. They're not going to get rid of mail-in ballots at all. So we got to get people to vote. I know you can check.
My concern about 2026, the fact that we have open primaries.
Yep.
Yeah, we need
That
to.
is a
I agree
serious
with that,
concern.
Johannes. We need to close our primaries down, and I was hoping this year they would have done that, but there was a bill that was filed to close our primaries, but that got killed in committee, so that will not be happening this year. But yeah, it's just very unfortunate that we need to do something, and and I agree with Randall. I believe us Republicans are we're probably going to still keep the Senate, but I see us losing the House of Representatives majorly due to because us Republicans put out a national statement saying that we're not doing any town halls. What does that say to your constituents? That is a bad idea. And kudos for Victoria Sparks for doing town halls and for being the lone Republican to take on the radical Dems and her own party and say, I'm having a town hall for my people and I'm doing this. And that's the type of leadership that you need to take. And I think Victoria Sparks is going to be the new, the Nancy Mace of Indiana. I was talking to Randall last night. She owned them. I'm sorry, but she owned them. And then when we were in Westfield, all the liberals were trying to pass out colorful whistles, to disrupt it, and so the police ended up stopping it.
Oh, they had whistles over there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they were.
Every single person in line got a whistle.
Yep.
From the 50501 pack group, whatever they're called.
With the McCain Institute, because they did that when they attempted to have the Tbilisi Maidan in October 26th, when the Georgian Dream won the parliament in Georgia.
Well, and it's crazy, Johannes. We were talking about the colorful revolution.
They had whistles there too, and they had laser pens.
The thing was, we were talking about the colorful revolutions and how, in the colorful revolutions, they have speeches to memorize and that type of stuff, and they literally had speeches of what to say. They were saying, tax the rich, tax Elon Musk, send Elon Musk back to Africa. I'm like, okay, first of all, Elon Musk already gets taxed, okay, you uneducated swine. And then on top of that, they're talking about, and then when they didn't agree with Victoria Sparks, they were talking about revoking her citizenship at both events. See, this is coming from the Democrats, from the Democratic Party, who's like, oh, immigrants. If my biological mother can come here legally, so can everyone else. The other thing is, when you disagree with somebody politically, you don't take away their visas. And I'm sorry, but I don't care I don't even care if you're the President of the United States, you should not be doing that. No person should be revoking anyone's visas because of their
But when
political
you're a
beliefs.
citizen, you already have the rights of a U.S. citizen,
Exactly.
whether
Now,
you're
if you're
naturally.
out there committing crimes, murdering
Well,
people,
that's a whole different story.
yeah, then I believe your visa should be revoked. But if you're out there just protesting your First Amendment right, you shouldn't have your visas revoked. And regardless if you're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Independent, we're all citizens, and we all need to go back to the days of civility. And I think social media has taught us all to be a bunch of a-holes. Unfortunately, that's it.
Look, both of my parents were naturalized citizens.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, the left, you know, prides themselves on being tolerant, but here they are, chanting to take an immigrant's citizenship away because they disagree with her politics because she won't go against Doge. Doge is cutting wasteful spending. Why wouldn't we want that? Why wouldn't we?
Right.
Randall? Do you have a rebuttal to that, or you were there too?
Gabe, I'll tell you why they're against that. I'll tell you why they're against Doge. They get, even though USAID was initially intended for, international stuff like regime change and color revolutions, they were giving a lot of money to NGOs that sowed dissent and strife within the United States. And New Hampshire Senator Jean Shaheen was heavily involved with that stuff.
Well,
And now she's resigned.
yeah, because you were asking questions, you were poking around, and you wrote articles about what Gene Shaheen was doing in the colorful revolutions, and I think that might have played majorly in it. But Randall, what's your rebuttal to the Democrats that were acting, sorry, but they were acting insane over there. They weren't acting humane.
So, on my comment on Doge, I think we got to keep it. We got to start cutting back. We have so much wasted money, and somebody's got to look into it. Somebody's got to put a stop because Congress, they just keep writing the checks.
Yep.
They just keep these package deals. Boom, middle of the night, they all take that vote. Boom, another $1 trillion, couple $1 trillion gone instantly.
Oh yeah.
We got to put a stop to it. Americans are suffering. Inflation's sky high. People struggling to survive. And my stance is we got to start cutting our taxes. We can't get rid of taxes completely. It's not going to ever happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're out of hand. We need to start focusing on our communities.
Tariffs
If we can,
are a good start to reduce the taxes.
Yeah, I agree with the tariffs. We do need to do the tariffs. That's something that we do need to do. A lot of people are, they're for it. A lot of people are against it. You have to remember, when we did tariffs, our country that helped after I think World War I or World War II. Can't remember which one, but it helped majorly.
Oh, even before then, tariffs are the original constitutional tax.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, we need to go back to tariffs, and we need to reduce taxing the citizens because me and Randall are young. We're probably not going to have Social Security like Victoria Sparks said.
oh
We're
yeah,
not
it's going
going
to
to
be
have
gone.
Medicaid. Everyone else is having it. They've already spent, they already spent me and Randall's money, and they spent our grandkids' money and our grandkids' money. I'm sorry, but the boomers have literally destroyed the economic plan for future generations of Americans. So we need to scale back on spending. We need to cut costs, and I agree with Doge, and I agree with President Trump on bringing back the tariffs. This is something that we need to do. And I like it how all the Democrats that were there at what's it called, Westfield and Muncie, were all of a sudden, education on what do you call it? Hold on. Shit. We got cut off. Okay, and we are live. I apologize about that, everyone. We had a technical difficulty. Apparently, I didn't press the right button. So, when the extension came on, I did not press it. So, that's my bad. So, we're back on live. So, appreciate you guys staying with us. So, Randall, Johannes, we were talking about tariffs. Randall, you want to elaborate
Yeah.
why you support tariffs?
Yeah, so we've been kind of getting screwed by all the nations around the world for a long time. It's definitely time for them to start paying their fair share of tariffs. And if you're going to trade with America, you need to start paying up. American jobs need to come back. We send a lot of jobs overseas. Need to keep bringing
Yep.
it back because even manufacturing, manufacturing is decreasing. Electric vehicles, I personally won't own an electric vehicle, but it's definitely going to be a lot of the future, and it's a lot less parts and cheaper to make. So, with
Well,
that said, they need less people.
and tariffs are actually constitutional. The income tax is not constitutional. We need to get rid of the IRS and the Federal Reserve. And from what I understand,
100%.
Trump is trying to do that. The tariffs, along with a luxury or consumption tax, those are all constitutional taxes. And the tariffs were intended. If
Uh-oh.
you want to import foreign goods, you have to pay a tariff, and that tariff goes to the money that the United States needs for its infrastructure and things like that. And then other countries charge tariffs on our goods. So another country wants to import their goods here. They want to have a lower tariff on their goods coming here. They need to lower their tariffs when we import our goods over there. That's why the tariffs are so good.
So I'm having
It's
camera
basically,
difficulties,
when
but
it comes
keep
to
going.
international trade, tariffs are the great equalizer.
What'd you say, Gabe?
I'm having camera difficulties. Oh, there we go. Is it coming back? Yeah, it's coming back.
Nope.
That's why we need high tariffs on China.
Yeah, we need to tax
100%.
China. You know why didn't the left say we need to tax other countries and have them pay their fair share? Because they're not paying their fair share. They're not even paying us back for all the money
Not
we
at
give them
all. Not
overseas.
even close.
So yeah, Ukraine needs to pay us
And we
back with
need to tax
interest.
China.
China needs to
We
pay
need
us
to
back.
tariff Chinese goods because Chinese goods, I'm sorry, are junk. I mean, there's even a joke. Why is it that the Chinese could never keep their one-child policy? Because all their condoms are made in China.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. And you know what?
The Russians
They
told me
also,
that
hey,
joke.
listen, you guys. They also save money because they don't need big condoms like us Americans. Ah,
They
that was a
what?
bad one. That was a bad one. Did you get it, Johannes?
I didn't quite hear what you said.
I said. I'll say it one more time. I said they also.
Elon canceled a lot of condoms to,
Yeah, he did.
to the
He did.
Muslims.
Yeah, he did. What I was saying, Johannes, I said China also saves a lot of money on condoms because they're not as big as us Americans.
Oh, that's good.
So, but yeah, it's just we need to go back to we need to go back to tariffs and making other countries pay their fair share because for far too long us Americans have been footing the bill for their wars, their military equipment, and then what do we get? Tiddly squat, and we have to send and then we have to bomb the Middle East some more. What the hell?
We need to go
And
back to the Monroe Doctrine too.
Yeah,
We
we
need to
need
get
to
out of NATO. I'm sorry, NATO is not a defense organization.
no, they're
It's
not.
an organization designed to overthrow other countries and it's just giving us a bad name.
It is. It really is, and it's not our wars overseas, and we just
And the
need to pull
United
out.
States
And the U.S.
is
is paying for
supporting it.
everything on top of that.
NATO. How much are we putting into NATO compared to other countries?
We probably put in like
Over
We're putting in the
60%.
majority of it.
probably.
So
Yeah, it's
if they want us
60%.
to be a part of it, then they need to pay their fair share. If not, let's
I
leave it.
support Trump in getting out of NATO. NATO's been nothing but a headache for us, and we just, it's costing us too much money to fund other countries, and here's the thing is,
Yeah.
all we are is funding NATO, and NATO's not even going to side with us. When shit hits the
Right,
fan,
right.
they're going to be like, oh, charge America with, war crimes. Well, screw NATO then. We don't need to give them any more stuff.
Well,
And
my spiritual
NATO,
father used to call
and
NATO the North Atlantic Terrorist Organization.
well, and here's the thing is
Of course, he
NATO.
was a Kosovo Serb.
Johannes, you know this. NATO was designed for the smaller countries, for the countries that didn't have the resources, right? So they would join NATO. Why is the
And
big
that was when
countries?
you had the Soviet Union,
Yes,
which was a threat. You
exactly.
don't have that anymore.
We don't have that. Yes, you're right. And so why is America? Why is Russia? Why is China? Why are all of us in it? We shouldn't be in it. That's not the organization that we want to be associated with, and so we just need to pull out. We just need to pull out.
And the other thing is, all the problems that we have with Russia, we actually caused, because George Herbert Walker Bush promised Gorbachev that if we allowed Germany to reunite, NATO would not spread 1 inch eastward. Then what happened? The Warsaw Pact countries started to join NATO. Poland, the 3 Baltic states of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Then you had a lot of the Balkan countries like Croatia, Slovenia, Romania, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary. Now all of Eastern Europe is in NATO.
Well, Johannes, you have to remember, anytime a politician tells you something, it's actually the opposite, okay? It's like similar to opposite day, okay? Wouldn't you agree, Randall?
What is it?
Oh, with, they were talking about NATO, how NATO, would go, how they said NATO would not go east and then it didn't. And I basically said that anything a politician says, is usually go the opposite of that. So.
Yeah, politicians would definitely lie to you, according to who's in their pocket.
Yeah.
They're not going to usually give you a direct answer. That's Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. It's all of them.
Especially the Rhino Republicans. They're good at lying.
Yeah, Indiana is full of rhinos.
I will say this. The thing with Democrats, at least I know where they stand. With the rhinos, they'll smile and tell you one thing and then stab you in the frickin' back like Todd Young.
100%.
I cannot wait for Todd Young to be primaried. I'm going to vote whoever the fuck is his primary opponent. That's what I plan to do. Never younger right here. Never younger. So,
yeah.
We'll see
that's why we keep losing,
I don't
too.
know why Todd Young doesn't join the Democratic Party. He practically votes Democrat on all the bills that come into the Senate.
You know what we just need to do is we just need to us Republicans just need to campaign on how we just change his name to Joe Donnelly, okay? We just call him Joe Donnelly for the remainder of the rest of the year and just campaign on replacing Joe Donnelly 2.0.
Yeah, and Joe Donnelly was actually a Democrat.
Yeah, Joe Donnelly had a better voting record than stupid Todd Young. Surprised,
Joe Donnelly
not
was
by
our
much,
congressman
but a little
for a
bit better.
while before we were gerrymandered from Congressional District 2 to Congressional District 1.
Yeah, it's really sad. So, but we'll see. I heard that guy Yoder who runs who's with that Cam Savages, something like that. Cam Savages was involved in the Marion County GOP party, and they have some discrepancies going on because they have political action committees, but they're based out of Covington, Kentucky, and all this other stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But like I said, I'll vote for anyone but Todd Young. I'll vote for a Libertarian candidate. I don't care. It's Todd Young's got to go, and so if there's a better Republican, I plan to vote for it. I don't care. Primaries is
Yeah,
where
we need a
primaries is
good
the
MAGA
time to
Republican.
vote, and Republicans need to get out and vote in 2026 and vote for the right and vote for a candidate, because if they don't, here's the thing: is yes, we got Trump in, but if you want to continue that mission, you have to. The silent majority has to come out and vote, and that's the problem. A lot of us just stay home.
And here's another thing. Here's another thing why the Republicans need to really come in droves in the Republican primary. The Democrats know very well that the primaries are open, and they're going to deliberately go into the Republican primary and vote for the weakest candidate so their candidate can win in November.
Exactly, that's what they do.
That's a serious
and
problem
that's why we need to
that
close
has to be rectified.
That's why I agree. We need to close our primaries and just do what we normally
That's
do.
how they defeated Ryan Webb as the councilman here in my town. A lot of Dems showed up, voted in the Republican primary. It was enough of them to get him off.
Yep. And that's what happened here in Marion County last year. There was a lot of Dems that transferred over and voted against, a lot of candidates.
And they're going to do it again.
Yeah, they will. They know. They
They
know.
will
and,
do it again.
And Indiana.
And they're going to pay people to come. You got and up here in Northwest Indiana, we have the FIP factor.
Okay,
The
Johanna.
what?
The FIP
A lot
factor.
of people don't know that, so elaborate. Spell out the acronym.
FIP. FIP is an acronym. It's short for fucking Illinois people.
Yeah, Illinois, you just need to give the candidate a call today.
My dad, when he was on the Michiana Shores Town Council, caught them in the act. He even had the Indiana State Police investigate over here. Basically, what they're doing, they're using the motor voter bill, and I really hope Trump gets rid of this, because this will cause this will end a lot of the election folly that it started if we get rid of it. But what the FIPs are doing, especially from the Chicago area, okay, a lot of them have vacation homes all over Northwest Indiana, especially on the shores of Lake Michigan, and even into Southwest Michigan, like New Buffalo, Michigan, Union Pier, Lakeside, all the way up to St. Joe and Benton Harbor, Michigan. That you in the summer, all you see is Illinois plates. And what they do is, okay, they're registered to vote where they live in Illinois, in the northern suburbs of Chicago is where most of them come from. It's where all the rich FIPs come from. They have a house here, and they register to vote here through the motor voter bill. And a lot of them, what they do is, they'll get one of their cars registered with the Indiana BMV, so then they can use the motor voter bill to register to vote here, but yet they keep their voting registration in Illinois. And most of these people are Democrats, so they vote in Illinois, then they come over here and vote over here, okay?
So
they
they
could
vote
basically
twice.
be voting for president twice, so to speak. And that's a problem. And very few people, my dad, I think, is the only person I know who had enough balls to actually expose this. But nobody wants to talk about it, and it's a serious problem.
Yeah, we have a lot of voting problems in Indiana for sure. And our leadership's what's failing us. We don't have people that are strong enough to stand up and actually look into it and put a stop to it. You've seen that in 2020, seen it in 2022, and it's going to continue.
And I'm willing to put money on the table. I'm willing to put money on the table that a lot of these Democrats that are voting in the Republican primaries are coming in from Illinois and voting in the primaries to get the weakest candidate. Like my opponent in the Republican primary for Indiana State Senate, a guy named Jeff Larson, who's basically a nobody. And okay, I get it. He could have won the first time because it was my first time running. Nonetheless, I got 20% of the vote in the primary, which is not bad for the first time running. But he ran against Manuel Maldonado for Indiana State Representative District 10 last year and beat him. And Manuel Maldonado has run 3 times. And 2 years ago, he almost beat the Democrat, Chuck Mosley. So the Democrats, they're afraid of Manuel Maldonado. They put Jeff Larson in there to run against him, and Jeff Larson beat him. And then, of course, Chuck Mosley won.
You know, in my district for Victoria Sparks' spot, there's a younger kid, Jackson Franklin. He's a Democrat. That kid's trying to run to defeat her in 2026, and he actually supports universal income in America.
That's retarded.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely not.
that those people are a menace.
That's
You know, he
yeah,
supports
that's-
that. He wants,
And the 15-minute cities, I'll bet.
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He,
Well, and
so the Green New Deal and all that bullshit too. You know, what we need to actually focus in
Mayor
on.
Angie Nelson of Michigan City, and I'm glad I'm in Michiana Shores, which is not in Michigan City's jurisdiction.
you know what?
Mayor
Randall,
Angie Nelson supports the 15-minute cities.
You know
This
what?
double track project in the South Shore is the
Johannes.
biggest waste of taxpayer money. They totally destroyed 11th Street, and the 11th Street station for the South Shore was this beautiful historic building. They demolished it. Now they got this big, massive eyesore. They want to build this big 10-story apartment high-rise there. That's just massive. It's supposed to have all kinds of stores. It's designed to be a 15-minute city. And then this dumb bitch wants to get the prison once the state closes the prison. She wants to get the prison and turn that into a big wealthy apartment complex for the Chicago yuppies. And then he's hoping that the coal burning generating station of NIPSCO along the lake shuts down so that can get demolished and she can have a big resort built over there.
Well, here's the thing: is I want to go back to Jackson real quick. Randall, the Democrats are like the Republicans.
He was there too. He was outside.
What happened?
The Jackson Franklin or whatever his name is running against Sparks.
Yeah.
He was actually outside giving a speech when
Yeah.
she was talking, and afterwards, she actually interrupted all of his speeches with the YMCA song, so that was entertaining.
Oh yeah, I was dancing to it too, doing it was funny.
That's one of Trump's
But what I
songs.
wanted, Johannes, hear me out for a second. What I wanted to say was the Democrat establishment and the Republican establishment, they're called the machine here in Indiana, right? If they don't want you in there, they're gonna make sure that they're gonna make sure that you're not. So what they're gonna do is, I wouldn't be surprised if they run some 80, 70-year-old hag that has a law degree or is it a doctor or whatever. And what they'll do is they'll run against him against that kid, and then that kid will lose. And honestly,
He's got no chance in the primary.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, I'm all for young people getting out and getting involved. Okay, I think that's crucial.
I agree.
And I think more young people need to be in politics. That being said, I have seen the Indiana machine in full force, and they will do everything to stop you. So good luck to Jackson, but I don't see him making it through the Democratic primaries, because I know how the Democratic primaries are. They'll rig this shit against you. So what?
Yeah, and he doesn't have the financial support either to get the information out to the entire district. He can try to run a grassroots campaign, but if you don't have the money and the support backing from the party, it's got no chance.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is that he can try to run a grassroots thing, but the problem with the Democratic Party is that they don't believe in grassroots. They really don't, because they'll stop you. The establishment will basically cut your legs, and then what they'll do is they'll spread a rumor around, and they'll get everyone to follow in line, and that's how they do it. Republicans, they'll fight you. They will. but they won't.
And they're
they
playing
won't
it smart too, because
Go ahead.
I think they're playing it smart because they're gonna give this kid a little boost to make it look like they're supporting before the primary, because it gets young folks out to these town halls.
Exactly.
Because he's helping draw attention, because they didn't show up to see Sue Ayrton, who was there. They didn't give a shit about her.
Yeah.
She gave a whole speech and everything. They was listening to that kid. But at the end of the day, a lot of those kids are not going to show up to vote.
No, they're not. They're gonna be.
But
They're gonna
they're
be
very good at rallies. It makes a very good look, and that's exactly what they're doing across the nation, is to get young folks out to start protesting, causing a scene, and interrupt town halls.
Exactly.
And that's what exactly they're doing with the
That
Jackson,
way
Franklin.
Well, we've seen it before. We've seen it before. The Democrats, and they brought in buses into Westfield and to Muncie. This is what they do. They bust in young college people, and they cause havoc. And what they do is they take advantage, like Johanna said. They take
And it worked.
before college. It
They're
worked.
paid
It
We've seen
worked.
it firsthand.
They're paid protesters.
No.
What they'll do is
Go ahead.
either through the student government or the student council at these universities, with some Soros-funded NGO or the McCain Institute, they're going to say, hey, you're a student, you need money. Hey, here's a way you can make an easy $100 or $200. Look, hop on this bus. We're going to go to Indianapolis. We're going to go here. We're going to go there.
We'll feed you.
This is what
We'll
you
bus
need
you.
to say. You
We'll
need to
pay
disrupt this political candidate. And they bring him in by the masses that way.
You hear this? You hear this, Republicans? I want every Republican to hear this across the nation, okay? You hear what we're telling you. This is what they did. This is what the Democrats' playbook is. They take advantage of young college students and they bus them in, they feed them, and they pay them. That's what Republicans need to fucking start doing. You guys got to get off your ass and start getting young people involved and start doing the same tactics. Don't do the violence part, but if you want young people to show, if you want to show young people that you're involved, do the same shit that the Democrats are doing to get these students involved, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to do that. And that is why the Democrats get a large amount of young voters to vote for them, because they do shit like that. Republicans don't. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, but our party does suppress voters. We do. We don't want new people coming in because we like the votes and how we have right now. We could care less. And no, that shouldn't be the thing.
Yeah.
And that's why Trump won. That's why Trump won in mass. That's why he ran and got the most young votes than any other than Kamala Harris, because he capitalized on that. He went to podcasts. He went where young people were at. He talked to them. He did interviews. He went to the young people and he asked them, "What's the issues that you guys have?" And he sat down and listened to them. That's all the young people are wanting. And also their bills to be cheaper too, of course. But this is what Republicans need to do. You guys need to take notes
Trump,
and do this.
Trump for a long time was involved with the World Wrestling Federation.
Yes.
And that's why he got Hulk Hogan in there and all that. And that, of course, always attracts crowds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, he's also.
And that's going to be our problem in 2026. Is right now Republicans, what was attracting is all the attention on Trump. But right now, with the silence we're doing, not very many town halls, not really a mission statement. So in 2026, if we don't energize the crowd, they're not going to show up. They're going to stay home. They're going to say, oh, we got Trump in. They're not going to understand that, hey, we're about to lose the House. We could lose the Senate. They're not going to understand that. And it's happened consistently. So we have got to.
And I'll say this is, they can bring Trump in and do a rally, but if there's no message, if there's not a good enough message for the voters, they're not going to show up. And we've seen that happen time after time and time after again. We've seen that in 2018.
The Democrats will show up.
Yes, they
because
do.
they hate Donald Trump.
Yes, they do. And that's
they hate Donald Trump. Yep. And the Republicans, every last one of us, they hate the real Republicans, not the rhinos.
Yeah. And
so they will show up en masse if they think that we're a threat to their policies.
And then most of the rhinos are actually very boring to listen to, also.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Mitt Romney, Todd Young. Yeah, they're pretty boring. So, but yeah, we're gonna be wrapping up here
We got to
short.
educate them too, because there is a lot of Republicans that don't understand midterms. They really don't.
No, there's no. Yeah, you.
They don't
I.
understand. They don't know when they are. They don't understand primaries. We got we got to educate folks,
Yeah, we do.
And
especially
then
the
when you
younger
come
generation.
to
We have
state
got to start
politics,
targeting them. Say, do you really like all these high taxes? Do you want to rent a place forever? Because right now we're renting our homes. So if you own a home, you're renting it from the government because you're paying in property tax.
Yep. And if you
oh
don't
yeah,
pay
you
your
We got to
pay
property
end that
batteries
shit
taxes, you get
too.
very
taken
low.
away.
Property
So
My
tax has
batteries
got to
very
go.
low.
yeah,
Because if you don't pay it for a year or two, they'll put it up for tax auction. It's bullshit.
it is.
You
It is
Yep.
know,
bullshit. So, well, you
people work
guys.
hard. Cost of living is outrageous, and
Oh yeah.
then every year they increase your value when you really can't even sell it for that price.
Right, right. And then
Well,
here's the
And
thing.
it's to line
Here's
their
the thing with
pockets.
state politics. With state politics, what a lot of people don't realize is the state representatives are elected every 2 years, but the senators, half the state senate is elected on the presidential election, and the other half is elected in the midterm. Like in my district, Senator Pohl, he's reelected in the midterm election.
yep. So he'll win
See,
every
most
damn
voters
time.
don't know that.
Yep. Exactly.
Most voters do not look into all that. They really don't.
Yeah,
They show up for presidential elections, and that's it. And we get that massive turnout. But midterms, it's so low, and it's. I think a lot of it is just we don't work hard enough to educate our voters and to get them to understand why they need to show up and what it's going to take to actually win. And if we don't do
yeah.
that in 2026, we're going to lose across the board.
Yeah,
And
we
the
are.
Democrats want that because they've had a proven track record every time in the midterms
If
to absolutely destroy us across the
Now,
nation.
I'll say this: Republicans own the House and the Senate right now, and they've really not passed anything. What do you call it? Productive and effective for us right now.
No,
And so, what are we going to do? What is the messaging for 2024? We have to know that you have to be able to message. You have to be able to know how to message. And so, what are we gonna do? What are Republicans going to do when this stuff happens? Probably not
And
a
a lot
dang
of the
thing.
things Trump wants to do, they're going to have to be passed through the Senate and the Congress.
yeah, Trump's got to get a plan for 2026. He's got
Yeah,
to encourage, get a voice, get a message of what we're doing going forward because they think there's what is it, the 2025 message bullshit that they try to say Trump's behind
and
and all that.
2026 is going to be here before you know it.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's
it's
already
almost
almost
here, and
April 2025.
so
Right.
a lot. So some people don't know this, but 2026 we have our state convention and we have our primary. 2026, the Diego Morales will be up for re-election. Um, that's Secretary of State's position. It's going to be a hard battle for him because I don't know what the heck he's doing, but he's doing a lot of things that conservatives are not liking right now. I can tell you what, a lot of state delegates that voted for him are really rethinking about, changing their votes this upcoming election. So he's got to
Yeah,
go ahead.
he really needs to let his constituents know what's going on because
Yeah,
all this India involvement and H-1B visas and all this stuff.
Yeah, he's going with
Got
Raju in India to sell visas. The hell? What the hell's going on with that? How's that? How is that America first? You're going over there and you're helping your buddy sell visas. Look, I voted for Diego. I like Diego personally, but he's not being a good leader right now. A good leader would have would
and
have
even in our
would have
Patriot group,
campaigned
there's a lot of
on
people
getting
saying he's a
rid of
disappointment.
Dominion software. They would have fought. They would have kept their promises, and Diego's not doing that right now. He campaigned on securing our elections. Not one election has been secured. We still have Dominion software, but his office budgeting is off the charts. We need to get if he wants to win back the conservative votes, if he thinks that he's going to win the convention of 2026, he needs to act like a Republican instead of acting like Eric Holcomb. And that's the message I have. I like Diego. I like
Yeah.
him personally, but he's doing a bad job as Secretary of State, and he's going to lose if he doesn't get his stuff together. Now, that being said, is 2026, we also have the state treasurer up and the state comptroller up. And that's all going to be in the state convention. And so that means Daniel
What about
Elliott
the
and the new
Attorney
lady
General?
that was.
Because
Hold on, Johannes.
Todd Rikita's doing a good job as Attorney General. When is he up for
He
re-election?
won't be up for re-election until 2028 when Todd Young goes up for re-election. So that being said,
Oh,
I just
okay. So
I
he's
just want to
safe
say
for a
this,
while.
Johannes. So those are the main offices that are going to be up for grabs in 2026 in the state convention. And I'm gonna tell you, if Diego doesn't get his stuff together, and there's a and if Evan Bayh's son Beulah decides to run, the Bays are well known for being a moderate Democrat, and you are going to see we're going to see Republicans cross the aisle and vote for Beulah Evan because Diego is probably going to be a weak candidate, and he needs to get his stuff together, and Republicans are probably going to find a better candidate to replace him. So he needs to get his crap together and be the America First candidate like he was elected in 2022,
Mhm.
and he needs to continue that because we got rid of Holly Sullivan because she was appointed by Eric Holcomb. State delegates did, and
Yeah.
state delegates will remove him and give him the Holly Sullivan boot. That is without a
I
doubt.
voted for rainwater when Holcomb wanted to enforce that misdemeanor bullshit for the
Same.
COVID
Yep.
stuff.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm
me too.
completely against any forced vaccines or mask, and we are not going back to that.
Yeah, we're not going back to the
Well,
Eric Holcomb
But we
era.
have to make changes because if there's another epidemic that they want to call, we're screwed.
Yeah, we
Because
are.
Well, the
we seen in
vaccine mandate
2020,
was
2021,
for state Senate the first time.
What was that, Johannes?
20,
I said the vaccine mandate was what made me run for state Senate the first time.
Yeah, they wanted us to walk
I
around
was
with
like,
cards
no way
saying
in
I
hell
got
am I going to take
vaccinated.
that COVID vaccine.
That was the dumbest thing
my
ever.
former job, I gave out buttons to every employee that I could on break time because I knew they'd fire me on the clock. But on break time or after work, because I was friends with a lot of my coworkers, and I gave them a button to wear during work hours that said "Jab or job is not okay," because the mask, if we even put them below our nose at all, you could get wrote up or fired. It
Yep.
was bullshit.
It was.
I would
And I ended
I
up getting approved with a doctor to wear a
every
face
time I
shield.
went to the grocery
It was a
store,
joke.
anywhere, I would not wear that mask. Instacart stopped me from going to Aldi because of that. Point Pickup closed my account because of that.
Yeah, so when I was doing
You
Lyft
know,
on
Magna
Friday-
did this company I worked for. It's called Magna Powertrain of Muncie. They actually did $1,000 raffle if you brought in your vaccination card.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I should have.
Can you believe that? But you know, they would if you did a good job for the month, they'd give you a $5 vending machine card.
I'd tell them stick.
But if I'd walk out that door and take a jab in my arm, I could possibly get $1,000. Now, isn't that some bullshit?
That is some bullshit.
And I'm
Yeah,
actually got some paid today because the general manager.
Would make you go crazy and all that stupid stuff.
Hold on, Johannes. Hold on. Randall, what were you saying?
Yeah, so the general manager at the time was Stephen Brand. I actually used to highly respect the guy, and he's my current county commissioner now, which is good. He'll probably do a really good job. But the same time, he should have stood up to a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
I don't care what the corporations say. If you are a true Republican and you don't support that stuff, you need to stand up and say, hey, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, because here's
And
the thing is, Republicans, we're supposed to believe in life, liberty, and freedoms. What the hell? A lot of Republicans backstabbed us in 2020 and 2021 because of this COVID crap. They were and these were politicians that were taking money from the states, from the NGOs, from the nonprofits. They were literally taking money from them so they would literally spread the COVID campaign. That's all they did.
Mhm.
They got paid to win their seats again, so they could advertise for Pfizer, Moderna, with Eli Lilly, all these other, these medical company manufacturers. As long
Well,
as
you
they
gotta
advertised
understand, a
it,
lot of
they
those
got
big
paid.
pharma people are in Indianapolis, and a lot of them are the neighbors of the governor's mansion.
Yeah, yeah. There's a big conflict of interest, and I'll tell you what. I don't feel bad for health insurances, and I don't feel bad for the medical companies when they're held accountable, because they're evil. They literally
Yeah.
literally paid
Well, I mean, look at
pharmacists to
Johnson
lie and tell.
Johnson, Pfizer,
Yeah,
Moderna.
yeah,
Dude, they were making trillions of dollars out to American people
yeah,
for all these COVID jabs. Johnson Johnson, blood clots.
yeah.
A lot of
Blood
those
clots.
vaccinations were taken away. It's supposed to be the one and
I
done
don't
shot, and
think
then
those
people still get fucking
medications they're
boosters.
giving to treat all that are gonna be free. They're gonna be.
I've not taken a vaccine, and I'm not
gonna.
going to take a vaccine.
Same.
They got me
I didn't take
fucked
any of the
up.
vaccines. I'm
They would
afraid
have to
of
put me down before they could ever give me a jab in the arm.
Look.
Yeah,
Didn't
me
wear a
too.
mask anywhere, not going to. The masks were a joke, proven. Fauci should be in prison, and I hope Trump makes it happen.
Now,
That pardon that Biden did, that he didn't even sign.
Especially Dr. Joseph Mengele.
Yeah, we need to round these people up, and we need to put them in prison.
Yeah.
For how many people's lives
Well, I
they
know
violated.
Rand Paul sure wants to get Fauci.
Now, here's
He
the
does.
I remember getting a lot of I remember getting a lot of heat by going after the mayor of Evansville when I lived in Evansville at the time. He tried to fine us $50 to $1,000 over not wearing a fucking mask, and we protested. We had that city hall filled, and Alex Burton we forced him to table the bill, where basically if you table the bill, it's done. They killed the bill. So it was hilarious. We showed up in mass, and we made it an option, because no government should be forcing anyone to wear anything or get vaccinated or have a stupid thing, a card saying I got vaccinated. That is the most dumbest thing and un-American. And you know what? We killed British people over fucking tea. Okay, when we got a 1% tax hike on tea. We fucking
And look at the taxes now.
Exactly.
30%, boom.
So you can't tell me that I have to wear a fucking mask when us Americans went to war over a 1% tax hike over fucking tea. You can take
And it's
your
masks
mask,
that wasn't
you
even
can
made
take
in the
your
United
COVID
States. That's
shot.
even the crazier part.
Yeah.
We weren't even making our own freaking mask.
Yeah, exactly. They were out. Remember Eric?
Where was the damn tariffs on those freaking masks?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about Governor Eric Holcomb. He was telling us we all had to wear a fucking mask or be charged with a misdemeanor, right? And there he was at a restaurant without a mask. He wasn't even following his own orders.
That's right. I remember that.
That's when I voted for Rainwater. I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. I just, in no conscience, could I vote for Eric Holcomb. And I faced a lot of heat for that. I faced a lot of heat down in southern Indiana for, showing resistance against the governor. And they punished me, and that's what happens. That's what happens whenever you challenge the status quo. You get punished. You get put on a stick.
Shutting down churches, shutting down small businesses, but the big corporations, they stayed open.
Yeah, they did. What'd you say, Johannes?
I said I was just charged with a DUI because I challenged the status quo, and I don't even drink.
Yeah. Johannes is like a true, he don't drink. He hardly, I've seen maybe him. Do you even smoke cigars every now and then? Johannes?
What?
Do you smoke cigars or no?
My dad does. I don't smoke,
Okay,
period.
he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs. Johannes doesn't do anything, okay? I'm telling you, because I've been to his house, okay? I know his dad, I know Johannes personally, and he doesn't do anything like that. And for him to get charged with fucking bogus OWI is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
That's fucked.
It is fucked. All because he was sick, and the officer entrapped him, and now he's fucking facing this OWI piece of shit charge. That officer needs to be
in
fired.
Indiana, too, if you refuse the breathalyzer, they can revoke your license until you prove.
If you refuse the blood test, they can.
Yeah, blood test.
Which is bullshit.
Well, I took the breathalyzer because I thought I take the breathalyzer, it's going to show a 000, they're going to let me home and I can go sleep that fever off. Oh no. Then they made me do these stupid field sobriety tests, which with my knees, I can't fail. 90% of the people can't even pass that test. And then they took me to the hospital to get a blood test. And then the county jail. My God, I've been to public lavatories in third world countries that were cleaner than it.
Well, to tell Randall what you told us last time when what it smelled like.
It smelled like a combination of rotten Reese's peanut butter cups, old shit, and new shit and puke.
Ugh.
Absolutely nasty. And then the prison clothes they made me wear. Oh my God, I'm wondering when was the last time they washed those. Then I developed a fungus in my armpits. My doctor gave me a cream to kill that fungus, and now that fungus is dying, it smells even worse than when it was alive.
Oh.
Absolutely nasty. I mean, oh, I was never so. And then you have the toilet and the drinking fountain on one pipe. Oh my God, I was so grossed out. I'm surprised I didn't
That's
even
fucking
puke.
sick. And then tell us what you had. Tell us what they gave you for breakfast too.
Oh, the food they gave me for breakfast, I wouldn't even give that to my dog. Some old stale bread, uh, some kind of peanut butter that's shaped like an egg. I have no idea how old that was. And some kind of powder that you mix with water in a cup. I
And
didn't
then
touch any of that with a
and
10
then
foot pole.
the powder with the cup, right? The only water that you get,
Yeah.
the only water you have to get is from the fucking urinal / water fucking hose.
No, not
All
a
in one.
urinal, toilet. People didn't just piss in there. They took a shit in there too.
Yeah, and that's your drinking water right
Nasty.
there. So if you ever get arrested, do not get arrested in what county it was, Johannes?
Laporte.
Do not get arrested in LaPorte County, you guys. This is just a fair public announcement. You will be drinking water where you shit and piss at. Inhumane.
Somebody will be taking a shit and you'll be standing on top of them to drink water. It's absolutely disgusting.
That's fucking sick. Yeah, now Marion County's a lot better than that, but still fucking pathetic and
Listen,
sad.
the my battery's about to go down. The sound is already fading.
So, yeah, that's what I was about to tell everybody. We're gonna wrap it up here. So I appreciate you guys all coming on. It's about 11:08, so we're gonna be signing off. Thank you, Randall, for coming on and joining us, and as well as going with me to the what do you call it, to the events with Victoria Sparks. So, Johannes, we will be on next Sunday. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you guys later.
See you
Yep.
guys
Have a great
later.
night.
Have a good night.
You too.